Hello, beautiful people. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, in this lesson, we are going to learn what main verbs are. What is a main verb? Do you know what a main verb is? So we'll learn what a main verb is, different types of main verbs, and how to use them in a sentence. So the lesson is going to be informative, it's going to be detailed. Make sure you watch it until the end. If you guys are new to the channel, haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that. Press that notification button as well so that every single time I publish a lesson, you get notified. I'm excited. I know you guys are too. Let's do it. Alright, everybody. Before we understand what exactly a main verb is, let me tell you something. All the verbs in English are divided into two categories, that are main verbs and helping verbs. This lesson is going to be about main verbs. We'll learn what main verbs are, different types of main verbs, how to use them in a sentence, and how to identify them. Alright, so let's start with understanding what a main verb is. What is it? Look at the word main verb. Okay, so it's a type of a verb. A main verb is a type of a verb that does not depend on any other verb in a sentence. As the name goes, it is the main verb. It does not depend on any other verb in a sentence. It is the main verb. It is the most important verb in a sentence. It is also called the principal verb. Okay, let's look at some examples of main verbs and understand it. Max fights in the UFC. Max fights in the UFC. Fights is the main verb. Alright. Max does something. Max fights. She is eating food right now. She is eating food right now. Eating is the main verb. Is here is the helping verb. It is talking about the tense of the action, and eating is the main verb. Alright. She is eating food right now. Eating is the main verb. Next example. John is an amazing singer. John is an amazing singer. So is here is the main verb. In the second example, is was not the main verb. Is was a helping verb, but here is the main verb. How come? Well, we'll talk about it. We'll understand this, right? So John is an amazing singer is the main verb because there is no other verb. That's why it is the main verb, right? It's a linking verb. We'll talk about it. We need some coders in our team. We need some coders in our team, right? We need is the main verb, right? If there is no other verb in a sentence, whatever the verb you have in a sentence, that is the main verb, right? But we'll talk about all the different types. Okay, so what are the types of main verbs we have in English? We have three types of main verbs. Number one, action verbs. And these can be divided into two categories, transitive and intransitive verbs, and regular and irregular verbs. We'll talk about them separately. Number two, linking verbs, that are also known as copular or copular verbs. And number three, stative verbs. All right, let's talk about all of these one by one. We'll start with the very first one, action verbs. So guys, action verbs are the words that show or indicate an action. These are also called dynamic verbs, right? So verbs like eat, when you eat, you perform an action. Sleep, it's an action. Play, it's an action. Study, it's an action. Take, it's an action. Teach, it's an action, right? Come, go, and many more. Most of the verbs are action verbs in English, right? So action verbs are divided into two categories, transitive and intransitive, and regular and irregular. Let's start with the very first type, transitive and intransitive verbs. So let's start with understanding what exactly a transitive verb is. What is it? A transitive verb is an action verb that acts upon someone or something. It's an action verb. It indicates an action that acts upon someone or something. So it has an object. It has an object. And if you want to find a transitive verb in a sentence, if you want to find out whether you have a transitive verb in a sentence or not, ask the question what or whom to the verb. If you get an answer, the verb is transitive, right? Let's study these examples. We are studying English. We are studying. Studying is the verb, action verb. Ask the question what or whom. We are studying what? English. So it has an object, right? We are studying what? English. So we can study something, right? Can we study someone? Yeah, we can do that. I'm studying you. I'm studying you. I can say that. So study can have an object here. It is a transitive verb. English is the object of the verb study, right? But it doesn't answer the question whom. We are studying whom, we don't have a person, right? So it answers a thing. We are studying what? English. She kissed me last night. She kissed me last night. She did something. She kissed. Can she kiss somebody? Yes, she can, right? She can kiss me, she can kiss her boyfriend, she can kiss her father, mother. So, kiss is an action that can be performed upon something or somebody. You can kiss yourself, you can kiss your mobile, you can kiss a girl, you can kiss a boy, right? You can kiss anything or anybody. She kissed me, so it has an object, right? That's why it is a transitive verb. They are eating pancakes. Again, ask the question. They are eating what? What are they eating? They're eating pancakes. So that's why it's a transitive verb. Eat is a transitive verb. You can eat something or somebody. You can eat your phone. Obviously, you can. You won't though, but you can. You can eat food. You can eat meat, right? You can eat whatever you want to. Will you or not? That's a different question, right? Mono gifted me a beautiful watch. Monu gifted me a beautiful watch. Mono gifted. Gifted is the action verb, as you can see. You gift, you do something, right? Now, ask the question what or whom. Mono gifted what? A beautiful watch, right? Let me just highlight this. Let's do it. Right? Mono gifted what? When you ask this question, you get the answer a beautiful watch, right? So we get the answer of the question what? Mono gifted what? A beautiful watch. Now ask the question whom? Mono gifted whom? The answer is me. So here in this example, the verb is answering both the questions what and whom. Such verbs are called ditransitive verbs, right? These verbs are called ditransitive verbs. That means they have both the direct object and the indirect object, right? So all these verbs are answering just one question, and this verb gift is answering both who, whom, and what, right? Monu gifted what? A beautiful watch. Whom? Me. All right. Okay. Will you give me your number? Will you give me your number? Again, will you give what? Your number. Whom? Me, right? Will you give whom? Me what? Your number. So again, give is a ditransitive verb. It has two objects, right? Your number is the direct object, okay, and me is the indirect object. So let me tell you the difference between the direct object and the indirect object, right? Uh, the indirect object is the person who receives the direct object, right? The indirect object is the person who receives the direct object and ask the question whom to find out the indirect object, and it cannot exist without the direct object, right? So will you give me your number? Will you give what? Your number. That is the direct object. It's a thing. The direct object is going to be a thing when it has an indirect object also, right? Will you give what? Your number. Will you give whom? Me. So the number goes to me. I am receiving the number, right? So the direct object is for me, right? Mono gifted what? A beautiful watch. Who is receiving it? It's me. So the indirect object receives the direct object. Okay, I hope you got it. So I hope now you know what a transitive verb is, right? It's an action verb that acts upon someone or something, right? It has an object, right? So verbs like uh, eat, study, teach, learn, slap, fight, all these verbs have objects, right? They can be acted upon something or somebody. Now, let's talk about intransitive verbs. Guys, intransitive verbs, unlike transitive verbs, cannot have an object. They cannot act upon something or somebody. They cannot act upon an object. That's why they're called intransitive. Okay, so verbs like sleep, yawn, smile, yawn, fall, right, and some more, right? I'll share the list on the screen, right? These verbs are intransitive verbs. Let's look at the examples and understand that. He was sleeping when I called. He was sleeping when I called. He was sleeping, right? He was doing something, he was sleeping. So it's an action verb. Which type? Let's find out. Ask the question what or whom. If it answers any of these questions, any of the two questions, it's a transitive verb. If it doesn't, it's an intransitive verb. Simple. He was sleeping what? We don't get any answer. He was sleeping whom? Still, we don't get any answer. So it's an intransitive verb. Can you sleep somebody? You cannot sleep somebody. You can sleep on somebody or something, but you cannot sleep somebody or something, right? She is smiling at me. She is smiling. She is doing something. Action verb. She is smiling at me. Ask the question what or whom. She is smiling whom or what? Can you smile something? You cannot. You can smile at somebody in a particular direction, right? She's smiling at me. Again, intransitive verb. The kids are running in the park. Kids are running what? Can you run something? You just run, right? You run on a field. You can run over somebody, but you cannot run somebody or something, right? So again, intransitive verb. But run has two meanings. Run as a verb has two meanings. The first verb, run, is the action of running, is an intransitive verb. The second one, run, means to operate, right? To conduct, to operate. That is a transitive verb. For example, I am running a business. Running what? Conducting what? A business. I am operating a business. I am conducting, I am managing a business, something like that. So run has two meanings, right? So you have to look at the context, how the verb is being used, right? Then only you'll understand whether it's working as a transitive verb or an intransitive verb, right? The next is, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Can you cry somebody or something? You just cry, man. You don't cry somebody or something. You just cry. You can cry about something, you can cry over something, but you cannot cry something or somebody, right? You just cry. So again, it's an intransitive verb. So verbs that do not have any objects, that cannot act upon something or somebody, are called intransitive verbs. Got the point? These are action verbs. How do we find them out? Ask the question what or whom to the verb. If you get any answer, transitive verbs. If you don't, intransitive verbs. Okay. Next is regular and irregular verbs. Now understand this. Guys, regular and irregular verbs do not have anything to do with the grammar, right? We have categorized action verbs into regular and irregular verbs based on how they end in past and past participle, right? So regular verbs are action verbs that end with a certain pattern. So in past and past participle, they end with the letter D and ed, right? So they have a particular pattern they end with, okay? But irregular verbs, these are action verbs, again, action verbs that do not have any pattern at all. When they're changed into past and past participle, right, they do not have any pattern at all. And that is the basis of their creation, right? They do not have anything to do with the grammar. It is just how they're formed, right? Okay. So let's look at some regular and irregular verbs. So look, cook, hook, work. These are regular verbs because they end in a particular pattern, right? There are so many regular verbs. Look, looked, cook, cooked, cooked, hook, hooked, hooked, worked, worked, right? So all these verbs are ending in ed, in past and past participle, right? Irregular verbs: eat, go, do, eat, ate, eaten. There is no structure. Go, went, gone. There is no structure. Do, did, done. There is no structure, right? So that is the basis of their formation, right? So that's what regular and irregular verbs are. The next type of a main verb is a linking verb. So far, we've just talked about an action verb, right? Now we're talking about linking verbs. Let's understand what a linking verb is. Look at the word linking. A linking verb links the subject to another word or words called the subject complement. So a linking verb works like a bridge that links one part, that is the subject, to another, that is called the subject complement. So it works like the bridge, right? It links the subject to its complement. Okay. So now let's look at all the linking verbs we have in English. And the most common types of linking verbs are to be form, right? And in to be form, we have three types: to be, base form, and the present participle of to be, being, and the past participle of to be, which is been. Okay, so to be base form, we have is, am, are, was, were, and all the modal verbs plus be. May be, might be, should be, would be, can be, could be, must be, will be, shall be, right? In being, we have is being, am being, are being, was being, and were being, right? These are present continuous tense and past continuous tense passive voice. We'll understand that. Okay. The next is been. Has been, have been, had been, and may have been, must have been, could have been, should have been, will have been. Right. Modal verbs and have been. Okay. Okay. And there are some other linking verbs as well. These are become, right? To become form, become, became, become, right? All the tenses. Go, it's not the action verb go, right? Go, it's a different verb, right? So don't get confused. We'll take an example of this verb go as a linking verb. Remain, turn, get, appear, seem, look, feel, sound, taste, smell, stay. So all these verbs are linking verbs, but understand this. Some of these verbs also work as action verbs, right? So you have to understand how they function as a linking verb, right? And when they do not work as a linking verb, when they work as an action verb. So we'll understand that part as well. Okay. So now let's look at some examples and understand this. Okay.
You are a lifesaver. You are a lifesaver. So are is a linking verb that's linking the subject you to its complement lifesaver. So it's working as a bridge, right? It's linking the subject you to its complement a lifesaver, which is a noun phrase. That's giving a name to the subject you. You equals to a lifesaver. So you can replace the linking verb with equals to sign. You equals to lifesaver. All right. And I'm using are to refer to the present time. You are a lifesaver. In the present, I could have said you were a lifesaver, right? If I wanted to refer to the past time. She was a great singer. She was a great singer. She equals to a great singer, right? So I'm using a noun phrase again to refer to the subject, to give a name to the subject. In the past, she was a great singer. I'm not saying she is a great singer. She might not be a great singer in the present. She was a great singer in the past, right? So we've used a noun phrase to give a name, to rename the subject, right? She equals to a great singer. We can use an adjective and describe the subject. She was amazing. She was very honest. She was very hardworking. We can do that, right? Now understand this. Here, these verbs are working as linking verbs. If, but, do not get confused. Just don't look at the word and call it a linking verb or a helping verb or any other type of verb, right? You have to understand what it's doing in that particular sentence, right? If any of the to be form of a verb is followed by an action verb, in that case, it's not a linking verb. For example, if I say you are helping me, now are is not a linking verb, it's a helping verb. If I say she was working with my brother, she was chosen for a project, it's not a linking verb, right? If it's working alone, right? If it's not followed by an action verb, in that case, it's a linking verb, all right? You have been a great teacher. You have been a great teacher. So I'm using have been because I want to say that you were a great teacher in the past and you have been in that particular state for me. You have been a great teacher. So you were a great teacher in the past and you have been in that particular state since a particular time in the past, which is not mentioned here, right? You have been a great teacher. You still are a great teacher. Okay, so we are using different linking verbs to refer to different tense, to refer to different time. Okay, John is being sarcastic. John is being sarcastic. Again, there is no action verb here. Is being is a linking verb. Linking the subject John to its complement, which is an adjective sarcastic. John equals to sarcastic. Talking about how John is. John is sarcastic. Okay. Is being means he's deliberately doing that. Still, he's not doing any action, but he's deliberately being in that state, right? If I say John is sarcastic, he's sarcastic all the time, right? That's his nature. But if I say John is being sarcastic, he's deliberately doing that. He's trying to be sarcastic, right? But if it's followed by an action verb, in that case, is being is not a linking verb. If I say John is being beaten up outside. John is being beaten up outside. Now it's not a linking verb. Is and being are helping verb here, right? Helping verbs. You seem mad at me. You seem mad at me. Linking verb, linking the subject to its complement mad. You seem mad. You're not doing anything. Seem is not an action verb, right? It just links the subject to its complement mad. You seem very talented. You seem mad, right? So mad is an adjective, subject, complement. You equals to mad. We should be happy with our performance. We should be. We should be. We should be what? Happy. We should be a teacher, a noun, right? Giving a name to the subject. We should be happy. Adjective, describing the subject. Subject complement, right? The subject complement is either a noun that renames the subject, gives a name to the subject, or an adjective that just describes the subject, talks about its state. Okay, we should be happy. We can be happy. We may be happy. We might be happy. So we can use different modal verbs to refer to different things, to refer to different possibilities. Okay. Connor stayed calm throughout the fight. Connor stayed. Okay, now if should be or will be or can be or could be is followed by an action verb, in that case should be is not a linking verb. All right, if I say we should be playing right now, we should be allowed to play there, now it's not a linking verb. Okay, so you have to understand this, because if it's working as a linking verb, you can replace it with the equal to sign, right? You can do that, right? And after it you have the subject complement, a noun or an adjective. Connor stayed calm throughout the fight. Connor stayed calm. He didn't do anything. He was not staying somewhere. He was not living somewhere. He stayed calm. He was in a particular state, right? So Connor equals to calm. Connor was calm throughout the fight. This is what it means, right? Linking verb. If it's working as an action verb, you will understand from the context. Stay is one of the verbs, one of the linking verbs that can function as an action verb. You can say Connor is staying at my place. Connor is staying. He is living at my place, right? In that context, it's an action verb. Okay. So yeah, you have to understand some of these verbs function as action verbs as well. For example, go. Go can function as an action verb, right? He's going to his place. He went to Mumbai last night, right? But it can function as a linking verb as well. We go crazy sometimes. We go crazy. We're not doing anything. We go crazy. Look at these examples, right? All these verbs are functioning as linking verbs here. Linking verbs. They're not doing anything. They're functioning as linking verbs. But when they function as action verbs, they do not show any state, right? They're not followed by a noun or an adjective. They can be followed by a noun, but that is not gonna rename the subject. For example, if I say he is turning the page, right? He is turning the page. Turn is one of the verbs that can function as both linking verbs and action verbs, right? So if I say he's turning the page is a noun phrase, but it's not referring to the subject. Can he be the page? Can he be the page? He cannot be the page, right? So the page, even though it's a noun phrase coming after the verb turn, but it's not working as a linking verb because it's not referring to the subject and giving it a name, right? It's indicating an action, right? Similarly, get can function as an action verb as well. We are getting some money. We are receiving some money, right? Appear. He appeared in a show last night. He went to a show, right? He appeared in a show. You appear nice. Linking verb. You appear nice. You're not doing anything, right? Look. You are looking at me. You are looking. You looked at me. Action verb. You look happy. Linking verb. Right? So you can refer to this picture and understand how these function as both linking verbs and action verbs. Okay. Next is a stative verb. Very interesting. A stative verb, as the name goes, also known as a state verb, is type of a main verb that we know, right? That indicates the state of the subject. It talks about the state in which somebody or something is, generally a person. It talks about the state in which a person is, okay? And note that stative verbs do not indicate any physical action, any dynamic action. They are basically used to indicate or refer to a state of a person. They do not refer to any physical action, right? They do not indicate any physical action, okay? Now we have 5 types of states in English. 5 types of stative verbs, right? Emotional stative verbs, emotional state, mental state, and these verbs are called mental or cognitive stative verbs. verbs that come in this category. Positional stative verbs, senses, stative verbs of senses, and others, right? These will refer to a condition. Okay, now let's look at these verbs. Emotional: love, hate, abhor, like, dislike, appreciate, envy, detest, loathe. Mental: think, believe, doubt, remember, pretend, recognize, recall, guess, forget, agree, disagree, need, prefer, satisfy. Possess: have, belong, possess, own, belong, two times, cut it off. Want, right? Senses: see, hear, feel, seen, taste, smell, sense, sound. And others: weigh, measure, contain, involve, lack, deserve, resemble, and matter and concern, right? Now, all these verbs will show a state of a person. If you say love, when you love somebody, you don't do anything, right? You're not doing anything physical. Your emotions are in a particular state. When they are in a particular state, positive, goody goody, right? You're having fun in there. You are in love, you love somebody. When you hate somebody, your emotions are not goody goody. They're not good, right? They're negative, right? So when your emotions are in a particular way, you call it love, you call it hate, right? Okay, let's look at some examples and understand these. Okay, Ashish loves his parents more than anyone in the world, which is true. I do. Okay, Ashish loves, it's the main verb, right? There is no other type of verb, so obviously it's the main verb, right? It's hanging in there alone, right? That is why it's the main verb. So loves is a main verb, is a stative verb. Okay, it's not showing any physical action, any dynamic action. Ashish is not doing anything. He doesn't do anything physical when he loves, right? When he loves somebody, he is in a particular state. His feelings, his emotions are in a particular state. Similarly, when I hate somebody, my emotions are in a particular way. I am feeling something, right, inside in a particular way. My emotions are not good. They're negative. They're bitter. That's why I hate somebody. I hated mathematics for many years. I didn't do anything. I was in a certain state. I was feeling in a certain way. I didn't do anything. I hate it, right? Similarly, do you believe in God? Do you believe? Believe. How do you believe? When you believe in something, your mind is in a particular state. You are in a particular state. You don't do anything. Yeah, I believe in you. How do you believe in somebody? You are in a certain state of mind, okay? So it's a mental state. He needed food very badly. He needed. How do you need something? If you need something, your emotions are in a certain way. You need something. They're asking something, but you're not doing anything, right? Again, a mental state. You smell great. You smell great, right? You're not doing anything. You smell great. So smell here is working as a stative verb. You smell great. You look great, right? The food taste is amazing. The food taste is amazing. The food is not doing anything. It taste is amazing. But smell can function as an action verb as well. You are smelling me. You are smelling the food. He is tasting the food, right? So you have to understand the context. You just cannot call them stative verbs, right? You have to look at the function. You have to look at the context and see what that particular verb is doing in that particular sentence, right? If it's working as a stative verb, if it's showing or indicating a particular state of a person, yes, it's working as a stative verb. But if it's not, if it's indicating an action, it's not working as a stative verb, it's working as an action verb. That's something you have to understand. You have to look at the context and understand that. You have to make that call. Okay, you don't have to learn these verbs and call them stative verbs. No, they're not going to work as stative verbs all the time. They can function as action verbs as well. Some of these are linking verbs as well. You must have observed, right? Okay, next example. He sounds quite confident. He sounds quite confident, right? He's not doing anything. He sounds confident. So he is in a particular state. Like whatever he says, he sounds confident. He looks in a particular state. Okay. All of us have a gaming laptop. All of us have or own or possess a gaming laptop. Now, when you have something, you don't do anything. You just have it, right? So you are in a particular state, a state of possession. You possess something, but you don't do anything. Okay. The syrup contains alcohol. The syrup contains. So it contains something, right? It has something. It's not doing anything, right? It's not doing anything. It just has something. So it's indicating a state of the subject, sira. It has something, okay? So that's what stative verbs are. I have a detailed post on my website about stative verbs and stative and linking verbs as well, and their difference. So you should check it out. The links are in the description as well. Okay. Now, a very important point is stative verbs are not used in continuous forms. You cannot use them in progressive tenses because they are stative verbs. They do not show any physical action. They do not show any dynamic action. And that is why, my friend, you cannot use them in continuous tenses. You cannot do that. So you can't say loving, hating, liking, understanding. You cannot do that, right? So if you say we are loving the class, we are loving you, sir, I'm loving it, McDonald, that's incorrect. Technically, grammatically, it's incorrect. You can't say that. You say we love the class, we have loved the class, we loved the class, we will love the class, but not loving the class. Incorrect. Are you understanding my question? A lot of people say that, right? Yeah, people say that, even very educated people. You might come across teacher saying understanding. Are you understanding my question? It's fine when you speak like that. Understanding is one of the stative verbs that people use in continuous forms, but technically it's incorrect. Simply say, do you understand me? Do you understand my question? Okay, did you understand me? Okay. The students were needing some extra classes for English. Were needing, you can't say needing, it's not an action verb. The students needed some extra class for English. Okay, that's something you have to keep in mind. Okay. Now, a list of verbs that can be both stative verbs and dynamic verbs. Stative verbs and action verbs. These are smell, taste, see, have, think, look, weigh, measure, and appear. Right? On your screen are examples of these verbs as both stative verbs and action verbs. You can go through these and understand. So I'm gonna give you some time to go through it and understand. All right, I hope you've done it. I hope you paused the video and went through the entire examples, right? I hope you've done that. Right. Now, when they function as action verbs, smell means the action of smelling. What are you smelling? Why are you smelling it? Why are you smelling me? Taste, the action of tasting, right? Would you like to taste it? I tasted the food. I don't want to taste it. See, to understand something, right? I see where you're going. I see what you mean, right? Have, to possess something. I have a computer. I have a TV. Think, right? To have an opinion. I think we should not leave the place. I'm not doing anything. I am just indicating. I am showing my opinion, right? I think we should do this. I think we should not do this. Look, you look amazing. You look pretty. So you're not doing anything. You are in a particular state. Weigh. This bottle weighs 200 grams. So it's not doing anything. It just weighs. This is its state. Measure. The building measures 250 feet tall. So the building is not doing anything. Appear. You appear to be sad, or she appears to be mad. Something like that. So guys, that's what stative verbs are. Okay, so that's all about today's lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you loved it. If you did, hit the like button. If you guys are new to the channel, haven't subscribed to the channel yet, that's bad. I mean that's really bad. Okay, do that. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you press that notification button so that you get notified and you don't have to search for my lessons, search for my videos. You can just watch them right away. And if you have any questions, any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. I have my website posts on these topics, right? Linking verbs, stative verbs, the difference. You can watch them. You can go through them. You cannot watch them. You can go through them. The links are in the description. And I will see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun, take care of yourself. I'm out. Namaskar.